So here's a very, very simple. We're using essentially 4 ingredients to get a really, really nice chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
And so, again, what we're going to start off with is the avocado.
Yeah. And you always could, using the nut butter and the avocado, these are bumping up the calories. But if you wanted to increase it even more in different ways, you could use nutritional supplements like ELLICSR. And we'll kind of walk you through that as well.
The blade is important, otherwise nothing will happen. And these are nice and ripe that I can just kind of squeeze them right in there.
Yeah, so avocados tend to have that creamy texture. So it's great for puddings, smoothies, whatnot.
These ones are a little smaller. So I'm actually going to use 2.
Yeah, and if you are buying ripe avocado, you could leave it in the fridge for a day. It kind of will buy some time, but leaving it on the counter is going to help ripen it. Yeah. Sometimes people say that putting it next to a banana that's already ripe can kind of talk to the avocado.
Talk to the avocado. I never heard that one before. That's good. So avocado's in. We're going to add some nut butter of your choice. So on there I put almond butter. This is actually cashew butter. They have all kinds now.
Yeah.
And it is so simple to even make your own. All you need is whatever nut you're using. So if you want to use peanuts or cashews or almonds, that's the first thing you actually put into the food processor.
Right.
And let that rip for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay? It'll look like nothing is happening. You give it time. Every once in a while, scrape down the edges, and the oils will slowly start to come out. And again, 5-minute mark is usually the good point. It'll turn into your own homemade butter. Yeah, and it's really simple. That's it.
And
That's
again,
it. Don't add anything.
Yeah, adding not only could you use the nut butters for taste, they have that nutty, but you're also adding the healthy fats.
So a little bit of that, the cashew butter in there, and then we have half a cup, 1 avocado, 1 large avocado, half a cup of the butter, half a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder.
Yes.
And this is 100%.
Yeah, and so, the cocoa powder actually has lots of flavonoids inside, which have properties that reduce inflammation and have some anti-cancer effects as well, as what some of the research is suggesting. But you want to make sure that you're getting the unsweetened 100% cocoa in order to kind of get those nutritional health benefits. So, having chocolate is good too, but in order to get the health benefits from the flavonoids, you may want to look for kind of the 85% dark chocolate cocoa version. And
we're going to finish off with some liquid. So this is where, again, it's up to you in terms of the calories that you need to add. So on there, like Stephanie mentioned, if you need to add a nutritional supplement like ELLICSR, but you can use any liquid, it'd be great. But if you do need to use nutritional supplement, this would be a great application to actually add it.
And there's different flavors. So, this one we're using, what was the liquid? Was it almond milk?
We're using, this is cashew milk.
Cashew milk.
I kept it all cashew.
Right. So it was a cashew flavor. But if you wanted more chocolate, then, there's a chocolate ELLICSR that you could kind of add in. And again, that tends to be a little bit sweeter. So if you're having a bland taste, or you're finding that you have a salty taste in your mouth, adding something sweet can counteract that as well.
Yeah, and you're bumping up those nutrients
some calories.
as well, right?
The only thing I would say is that with cashew milk or any type of nut milk, you're not actually getting as much protein as soy milk or regular milk. So again, you want to kind of look out for that as well. And just to make sure that milk that you're using is fortified with calcium and vitamin D for bone health.
And so whatever liquid you're using, we're going to add about a cup. And this is about a cup. Keep a little bit here, and depending on the consistency of the pudding you're looking for. also, like Stephanie mentioned, some of the Ensure nutritional supplements, could be sweetened, so it'll sweeten your end product. If you're not adding something that is sweetened, remember that there's nothing sweetened here. It's raw cocoa powder, avocado. It's gonna taste pretty raw.
Yeah.
So you might want to add something. So it's not sweetened, so I'm gonna add a little bit of maple syrup as well.
Yeah, and you could use honey too.
For nuts and peanuts allergy, can you use the wild butter?
Sure.
Yeah. You can, if you didn't have that, the wild butter, you can even add some banana. There'd be obviously a big difference in the calories and the fat, but it'll work as well.
Yeah.
And if you hated avocado, you can also use banana. Again, keeping in mind.
Yeah, the different, it depends, you experiment.
So that's it. Cocoa powder, again, has a tendency to fly through any open surfaces. So we're gonna cover the top. And it might take a couple times just to scrape down the sides, but you can already see there's like delicious.
Yeah, like a creamy.
Yeah. If there's a few, it's screaming try me, eh?
Soon.
If there's a few chunks of avocado in there, just give it another whiz. Right, that's it. And again, you can spike this with any other flavors. You can add a little bit of...
If the medications don't interact.
You say rum?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I completely missed that. I was going to say vanilla, but...
No, we're making it a real...
All right.
You're getting soft in your
Yeah, I'm getting soft. So here we go. Yeah. Let's pick on Jeremy today. All right. So that's it. I mean, this is going to be your pudding texture, right? Your softest, really creamy, really rich. And this will, you can keep this. You can actually, if you make a big batch, what I've done in the past is freeze it into ice cube trays. And that's the best smoothie starter. You throw, instead of ice, you use a few of these ice cubes into your blender with your regular smoothie ingredients. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
So that is the first part of it. Now, if you could have a little bit more texture, we decided to add a part 2.
Yes.
And we're going to make some really nice crepes to actually go with this.
And again, if you're experiencing a metallic taste, you just want to have the pudding or whatever the liquidy type of thing at cold or at room temperature to kind of counteract that.
So really, really simple. If you've never made crepes before, you start with your flour. Now we're using more of a whole grain flour here. This is red Fife. You can use any whole wheat flour or any regular flour. This even works with like a chickpea flour. Chickpea flour does have a little bit of a bitterness or an aftertaste to it, but whatever you want works. I know Stephanie wanted, she's like, oh, we need some fire in there. So let's go with a little more of a whole wheat flour.
Yeah.
Piece of parsley fell in here too, whatever, it goes in. And what we're doing is about half a cup, and this will make enough servings for this, but you would just double it if you need to. So this is actually a cup, so I've doubled it. And to that, I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups of water.
Yeah. So again, if you want to up the nutrition quality of your crepe, then instead of using water, you could use milk or almond milk. You could use your nutritional supplement like Ensure, whatever liquid works for you. But in terms of making that crepe, they all work.
We're gonna add our eggs. So again, because I'm doubling it, I'm adding 2 eggs in there. And keep in mind now, because we are using whole grain flour, it will absorb moisture much faster than your regular white all-purpose flour. So as it sits, and with any crepe batter, I would always recommend that you let it sit a little bit just to settle, and you can adjust at that point. So usually if a whole wheat batter will sit for like 20 minutes in the refrigerator, and it doesn't have to sit, because I'm gonna make mine now, but it'll get thicker, so you might just wanna adjust with a little bit more liquid at the end. So we got my eggs. We're gonna do in a cup and a half, doubling it of liquid. And that's it, and that's gonna go into our cup of flour. If you have a whisk, that works better. I used mine already. So I moved on to a fork. And what we're looking for is a consistency that's thinner than a pancake batter. It's almost like a little thicker than like a chocolate milk or something like that. You want it actually pretty thin. So we can adjust if we need to.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to adjust.
Yeah. And it also depends on how well you can chew, right? So for some people, kind of having a chewier pancake type, I mean, these are crepes, but you know, you want to, depending on what's right for you as well.
Perfect. So that's good for me. And again, if you have the time, let this sit in the fridge for like 20 minutes, just for it to come together. Again, this is an opportunity to change the flavor. You can season it, vanilla.
Yeah.
You can add whatever
and it's
seasoning you want.
also a bland, you know, start to whatever you're doing. So you could fill that crepe with something salty, or something more, you know, spicy or whatever, what have you. And you could add in things. So having kind of a crepe filled with eggs and lots of vegetables is also an option. But at least having that foundation, as a carrier to whatever you're going to include.
So I added just a little bit of fat. Again, we're obviously not concerned with calories today, so I added a little bit of butter. But you can adjust as you need. And I have, again, a medium-high heat, so I'm looking at about a 6 to 7 on here. And so this is pouring really nice out of the bowl. And what I'm gonna do is add half a cup, and this is where you wanna be mobile, okay? So you're gonna wanna move fast, otherwise it's gonna stop. And the first one is always the ugliest.
You're setting yourself up.
We're going to just move fast, and I'll try to do it so I can show you. And the whole wheat also creates a little bit of a challenge because the fiber actually creates these little grips onto the pan. So it doesn't move as easy, but it does still work. So again, want to make it as thin as possible. I'm trying to show you. And then once it stops moving, you can put the pan on top, and that'll take about 60 seconds on one side, and about 20 seconds on the other. So we'll let that cook. A non-stick. You can do this in a stainless steel. You're just going to need a little bit more sort of fat on the bottom so that it doesn't stick. This, and use a spatula, but this should come off pretty easy. And what I'm looking for is just a little bit of color.
A little brown, right?
And it's starting to move. The first one is always a little bit rough, but this will crisp up a little bit more on the edges. And what we're gonna do is stuff it a little bit. So I'm gonna turn this a little prematurely. You want a little bit more color. So that's it. Flip it to the other side. Again, use a spatula if you need to be a little more gentle. And just until we get a little bit of color. And this is where this delicious chocolate pudding will come back into play. And then if you want to top it, I'm going to show you in a second. What's nice, I mean, you can, this is an little extra step, but
Coulis.
yeah, so you can take just some frozen berries. These are just frozen blueberries that I put in here with about a tablespoon of maple syrup and medium heat while you're doing other things. And in about 20-30 minutes, it'll break down to this delicious, delicious jam. As it cools too, it'll get really nice and thick. And if you blend it, because especially if you're using fruits with little seeds, and you can't handle the seeds, it could be a choking hazard. Pick things either that don't have seeds or just pass it through a sieve after to remove the seeds, so that it's really, really nice and creamy and smooth.
And especially, you know, experiencing bitter taste, you know, adding in that extra sweet flavor can help with that too.
All right. So our crepe, it's got some nice color. You can get a little bit more color if you want on it. And what we're gonna do is grab some of this pudding. Again, me, I'd probably just go straight out of the cup, but oh, there's a little bit of avocado in there. Yeah, but this is, it's nice. It's a nice little treat, and especially if you don't want to just have one texture, or you're bored of the pudding, and you can
or even
manage
enjoying
this.
breakfast foods for dinner or for lunch.
This is a fancy dinner.
Yeah, fancy dinner.
So a little bit of pudding in there. We'll fold it. And I'm going to keep it like this on the plate. And a little bit of berry on top.